on this episode, separating porn and ejaculation.
This is the Holistic Alpha Male Optimization Podcast, where we help you unleash your true power as a man.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Stephen Mathis. Thank you for being here. It's another beautiful day in the mountains. I've got my weight vest on today. If you guys don't have a weight vest, it is for sure one of the best additions to my training in many years. They're not that expensive. You can use it absolutely anywhere, and it adds a whole new dynamic to a bunch of stuff that you're already used to. Try doing push-ups or burpees or squats or jumping jacks or any number of things that you're used to that are supposedly basic things. Add a weight vest to those, they become entirely different. I'll put a link down below to the company that I really like for these. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. But that's the one that I'm wearing today, and I've been really happy with it. So let's talk about separating porn and ejaculation. The reality of this is that they are two very, very different things in terms of how they affect us and the things that they bring up and whether it should stay in our life in some way or whether it should not stay in our life in some way. And yet, despite the fact that they are very different things, for a lot of guys, they are very linked together. There's a very strong link. One leads to the other. You know, if they look up porn, they're going to end up ejaculating. If they're going to ejaculate, if they're going to release, they're going to look at porn, right? These are interlinked for a lot of guys from a very young age. And part of this process of moving away from low vibration sexuality to sacred sexuality and moving away from porn and getting that out of our life is understanding the difference between the two and rewiring that, reworking the way that we interact with those two things. In essence, if you are moving away from a strong habit of both of those things every day, you are in essence battling two habits, two addictions. You are changing two patterns at the same time because they are really two very different things. I have spoken with guys over the last several years that are very or have been very addicted to porn, really outside of even stimulating, outside of even being hard at times in the day and in life when they're literally not even naked, they're not even interacting with themselves in that way. I've also worked with guys who actually have moved away from porn and yet they're still very much having a challenge with dealing with the ejaculation side of it, dealing with the retention side of it. They're two very different things. And when we are in the pattern of both of those, they are in essence two addictions. So we need to separate those two, understand the difference, and work with it appropriately. Here's how we do that. The first thing is to understand that there is going to be a rewiring process when it comes to release, when it comes to ejaculation, because porn, you're going to move away from that. Yes, there is a rewiring process that happens for sure in terms of emotional triggers and in terms of rewiring what direction your arousal goes and guiding that instead of being pulled by it. And there's lots of those things for sure. And yet we're going to come to a point when we move away from that and we're mostly done with that. Some of those things will linger a little bit for years where we'll kind of have to continually let them go. Things like fantasy coming up and those kind of things. But the ejaculation side of it, that's going to be with us for our life. I have a suspicion that none of you listening are intending to never ejaculate again. And so that is going to be a part of our life. So we need to rewire that and understand how to interact with it separate from porn. One of the most beneficial things that you can do in the very beginning stages of moving away from porn is allow yourself a few times where you release, but where there's no porn whatsoever. Where you start to allow your mind and your body to experience, okay, I can interact with myself in this way. I can dive into a sexual place. I can even release, and it doesn't have to involve porn. You start to give your mind and your body evidence that you can interact with it in that way. And that will help you have a much healthier relationship because releasing is going to be a part of your life. Yes, you may very well want to do it much less often than you have been, and much more intentionally than you have been, which are other discussions, but it is going to likely stay a part of your life. So the other thing with this is that when guys are in the very beginning stages of moving away from porn, it's harder to do both things at the same time. You may have some days initially where that urge kind of comes up, and instead of trying to push all of it down, do nothing, I'm good, hard mode, whatever, and even instead of trying to or being real locked in on the idea of edging in the beginning stages, allow yourself to get a win, if not all the possible wins. Because when you're in those early stages, not engaging with porn whatsoever, even if you masturbate, even if you release, even if energetically you're wanting to retain, so that's not ideal, that is still a huge win to move away from porn a little bit. And what I have seen with guys over and over again is this can be a very productive thing where they will come out of that session feeling so much better, even though they released, because they didn't look at porn. And there's a number of layers to that. I've heard it from guys early on in the journey. I've heard it from guys years into the journey, actually, the difference between releasing with porn and releasing without porn. So as you move along this journey, recognize that there is a partial win, a win out of multiple wins, really, to be had along the way. And the beautiful thing about that is it helps you build momentum. So in the beginning stages especially, momentum is your friend. Momentum is absolutely crucial. And if you have some kind of strong urge come up, you have some kind of trigger come up, and you're feeling like you're going to slip back towards that habit, the entirety of it, if you can get that win of saying, okay, I'm not going to look at porn, I'm going to allow myself to release, I need to feel that, because again, they're two very different things. Guys get addicted to the feeling of ejaculation separate from porn. So it absolutely can be a very productive thing in helping you gain and keep momentum if you have that kind of urge or trigger come up, to at least get the one win. Even if you can't get the complete win for that day, get part of it. It makes a huge difference, you guys. And again, there's a lot of layers to this as the years and the months unfold in this journey. But definitely understand that a big part of this journey is porn and ejaculation have been so intertwined for most guys. And there is a separation process, and we want to separate and discard one of those and let it go, and keep letting it go and letting it go and letting it go and letting it go over and over again until it stays away, which is basically what the process is going to be. And then the other part of that we need to develop a relationship with. Release, we need to develop a relationship with and develop a habit of having intention and being with it and accepting it as part of us. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you. I hope this show helps you, man. You guys, the reality is I put a lot of my heart and soul into doing this for you guys. This show is completely free. This podcast has been from day one, always will be. The Brotherhood, if you haven't joined our community, for you guys, that's free, always will be. My only hope really is I just hope it helps you. And second of all, I hope you put it into action, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you hear me say, how much it makes sense, what kind of light bulbs go off, what kind of inspiration it gives you, whatever. It doesn't, none of that really matters unless you actually put it into action. That's what matters. So go put it into action. I support you. Go get after it. We'll talk to you soon.